Why do some people spend their entire lives trying to earn love? Why do some people become obsessed with helping others while secretly struggling to value themselves? Why do some people give endlessly, sacrifice endlessly, and protect everyone around them, yet still carry a deep fear of not being enough? These questions lie at the heart of Sanji's story. Most people see Sanji as the charismatic cook of the Straw Hat Pirates. They see his confidence, his humor, his loyalty, and his unwavering commitment to protecting others. But beneath the surface lies one of the most emotionally complex characters in anime. Because Sanji's story is not simply about strength. It is about self-worth. It is about the psychological scars left behind by rejection. And it is about the lifelong journey of learning that your value does not depend on other people's approval. At a young age, Sanji experienced something that shapes countless lives in the real world: conditional acceptance. Conditional acceptance occurs when people feel loved only when they meet certain expectations. Instead of feeling valued for who they are, they feel valued for what they can do, how they perform, or whether they fit a particular standard. This creates a dangerous psychological message. You are worthy only if you become what others want. Many people grow up carrying this belief. Some feel loved only when they succeed. Some feel accepted only when they please others. Some feel valued only when they sacrifice their own needs. Over time, these experiences become internalized. The person no longer asks, "What do I want?" Instead, they constantly ask, "What must I do to be accepted?" Sanji's childhood reflects this struggle perfectly. Rather than feeling embraced for who he was repeatedly made to feel inadequate. He was treated as less than, different, unworthy. Experiences like these create deep emotional wounds because they attack something fundamental: identity. When rejection comes from strangers, it hurts. When rejection comes from the people who are supposed to love you, it shapes how you see yourself. Psychologists often explain that children develop their sense of self through the way significant people respond to them. If a child receives consistent acceptance, they begin believing they have value. If a child receives constant criticism, they may begin believing they are fundamentally flawed. This doesn't mean the belief is true, but it feels true. And feelings often shape behavior more powerfully than facts. This is where one of Sanji's most important psychological lessons emerges. Many people spend years trying to prove their worth because they secretly doubt they have any. The need to constantly prove yourself often hides an underlying fear. A fear that if you stop performing, helping, sacrificing, or achieving, people will stop loving you. This is why many high-achieving individuals struggle with self-worth, despite their accomplishments. No amount of success can permanently solve a problem rooted in identity. If someone believes they are not enough, external achievements provide only temporary relief. Soon, they need more validation, more success, more approval, more proof. The cycle never ends. Sanji's story highlights this dynamic beautifully. He consistently puts others before himself. He protects people, feeds people, supports people, sacrifices for people. At first glance, these qualities seem purely admirable, and they are. But psychology teaches us that even positive behaviors can have different motivations. Sometimes people help others because they genuinely care. Other times, people help others because they believe their value depends on being useful. This distinction matters. Healthy love comes from abundance. Unhealthy self-sacrifice often comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough. Sanji's character frequently walks the line between these two realities. His kindness is genuine, his compassion is genuine. Yet beneath those qualities lies someone still wrestling with questions about his own worth. This is something many people can relate to. There are individuals who would do anything for the people they love, to themselves. They forgive everyone except themselves. They support everyone except themselves. They believe everyone deserves kindness except themselves. Sanji often embodies this pattern, and it reveals one of the greatest challenges in personal development: learning to extend inward the same compassion you give outward. Many people think self-worth comes from achievement, but self-worth and achievement are not the same thing. Achievement answers the question, "What have I done?" Self-worth answers the question, "Who am I?" And those questions are fundamentally different. One measures performance, the other measures identity. This distinction becomes crucial because performance constantly changes. Some days you succeed, some days you fail. Some days you perform well, some days you don't. If your worth depends entirely on performance, your confidence becomes unstable. True self-worth must exist independently of achievement. Sanji's journey gradually moves toward this realization. One of the most powerful themes in his story is the relationship between trauma and identity. Trauma is often misunderstood. Many people assume trauma is simply a painful event. But trauma is more accurately understood as a wound that continues influencing the present. The event ends, the impact remains. Trauma affects how people interpret relationships, how they view themselves, how they respond to challenges, how they experience love. One of trauma's most common effects is creating distorted beliefs. Beliefs such as, "I am unlovable," "I don't belong," "I must earn acceptance," "I am not enough." These beliefs become invisible filters through which life is experienced. The tragedy is that people often mistake these beliefs for reality. Sanji's life demonstrates how powerful these filters can become, even when surrounded by people who care about him. Old wounds continue influencing his choices. This reflects an important truth. Healing is not simply changing your circumstances. Healing is changing your relationship with yourself. You can be surrounded by love and still feel unworthy. You can be successful and still feel inadequate. You can achieve your dreams and still carry old wounds. External change helps, but internal transformation is essential. One of the most beautiful aspects of Sanji's story is that he never allows his pain to turn into cruelty. This is remarkable. Many people respond to suffering by becoming bitter. They hurt others because they were hurt. They reject because they were rejected. They close their hearts because their hearts were broken. Sanji chooses a different path. He remains compassionate. He remains generous. He remains caring. Psychologically, this reflects resilience. Resilience is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to maintain your values despite pain. Anyone can be kind when life is easy. The real test comes when life gives you reasons not to be. Sanji's compassion demonstrates emotional strength far greater than physical strength. Because kindness after suffering requires courage. Love after rejection requires courage. Trust after disappointment requires courage. This leads to another important lesson. Many people misunderstand vulnerability. They think vulnerability means weakness. But vulnerability is actually one of the strongest behaviors a person can demonstrate. To care deeply is vulnerable. To trust people is vulnerable. To love people is vulnerable. To risk rejection is vulnerable. Yet meaningful relationships require all of these things. Sanji continues choosing connection despite the possibility of pain. And that choice reflects emotional maturity. Perhaps the deepest lesson in his story is that self-worth cannot be outsourced. No person can permanently give you self-worth. No relationship can permanently give you self-worth. No achievement can permanently give you self-worth. Those things may support it, but ultimately, self-worth must come from within. You must reach a point where your value is not determined by how others treat you. Because people will misunderstand you, people will disappoint you, people will leave. If your identity depends entirely on external validation, your emotional stability becomes fragile. Sanji gradually learns a different lesson. that being loved is not the same as being worthy of love. Worthiness comes first. You do not become valuable because someone chooses you. Someone chooses you because value already exists. This realization changes everything. Instead of constantly trying to earn love, you begin accepting it. Instead of constantly proving yourself, you begin trusting yourself. Instead of constantly seeking validation, you begin recognizing your own worth. This is one of the final stages of emotional growth. The shift from external validation to internal validation. The shift from proving to knowing. The shift from insecurity to self-acceptance. Sanji's story reminds us that many of our greatest struggles are invisible. People may appear confident while carrying deep wounds. They may appear strong while battling self-doubt. They may appear successful while questioning their worth. That is why compassion matters, not only for others, but for ourselves. Because healing begins when we stop treating ourselves like problems that need fixing, and start treating ourselves like people who deserve understanding. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson Sanji leaves us with. You do not have to earn your worth. You do not have to prove your value. You do not have to become someone else to deserve love. Your worth is not created by acceptance. It is not created by success. It is not created by approval. It already exists. The challenge is learning to believe it. Once you do, love stops becoming something you chase. It becomes something you are finally able to receive.